Okay. I used to be the same way. Like, well, when I get on here now, it just come natural. All right, hey there, how y'all doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are trying to get my stuff going on. Going live, we got a very, very exciting show this evening. We have not one, not two, but we have three candidates that are going to be joining us. And as y'all always know, I never tell y'all who the candidate is ahead of time. You got to stick around and see who he or she is. And so we're going to be kicking it off in just a minute when here to get us queued up over there. I'm gonna put this on. I want to put this on. Do not disturb, because it'll be going off all throughout the show.
WMPR 90.1 FM, Jackson, Mississippi, on the web at WMPR 9.
All right, y'all know what time it is. When y'all hear that coming, you already know. All right, all right. Good evening, everybody. District 66, Hinds County, and neighboring areas. We are so happy that you're tuning in to the Reliable Representation Talk Show. Unfortunately, my co-host, the one and only Brittany Bowman, is out around the town celebrating her birthday, so I'm just here by myself. But I'm not alone, because I have a few candidates that are going to be in this upcoming runoff election that are going to be joining us and kind of telling you why you need to pick them. And so I'm going to go on and bring the first guest up. Are you ready over there, lady?
I'm ready.
All right. We have but attorney Bridget Morgan, and we're going to let her tell you a little bit about herself and why she needs you to vote for her again.
Yes, thank you for coming out, Sub-District 2. And thank you for coming out. Thank you for coming out of Sub-District 2 and voting for Attorney Bridget Morgan for Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District 2. Listen, I was just so overwhelmed by the amount of support that you guys showed on election night. I'm asking you to come back out on Tuesday, November 26th, to just do it again, like the Staples thing would say, let's do it again.
Do it.
A little bit about my experience, though. I have tried 1,562 cases this year, and that was in municipal court and also federal court and the state trial court, and that's been jury trials for the federal and the state court. I have wrote the body camera policy. You heard me say that over the months. The body camera policy in 2019. That is why our police department has body cameras now, and so that's an ode to accountability and transparency for the community and for the police department. So
I love those body cams. I think that's a great thing, and we actually appropriated $500,000 to the sheriff department from the legislature to get body cams. For all of our deputies. That's important.
It's important. It's important, especially in the time that we're in now. That we have someone who has been on both sides of the prosecution and defense and police, and able to write that policy to benefit the community and the officers at large. Also wrote an ordinance for the police department where when a person is arrested and a gun is involved, and if we confiscate that gun, they can forfeit the gun. If they forfeit the gun, we can sell it, and those funds go to the police department as well to be able to buy equipment. I've been an administrative law judge, so when the Siemens contract came down against the city, we almost went under, right?
Yes.
I served as administrative law judge to make sure I was in the middle, and there was the citizens and the water company, and I was served as middleman to be sure that the citizens were treated fairly and had fair bills. Also teach at Jackson State University.
Be our love.
Yes, and I'm an alum of Jackson State University as well. I did an additional 3 years of training trial practice at Gideon's Promise in Atlanta, Georgia. Outside of going to law school for 3 years, I did an additional 3 years of trial practice. I have taught law enforcement, civil and criminal liability. I'm also done internal affairs. So when you file complaints against the officers, that comes before me, and we make decisions on what type of punishment to give them. If they were to not agree with that and to appeal that, then I will go over to the civil service and try to argue to keep that punishment that the chief has put in place. So I've done that as well.
With this impeccable resume, did you start working when you were like 15 years old? Because you've done a lot. That's amazing. Hey, I want to say good evening to Ms. Darlene Wilson out in Utica, Mississippi. Thank you for tuning in. And also to Mr. Frederick Owens. Good evening. And Frederick Owens gave you 2 thumbs up on here.
Thank you, Mr. Owens.
And so let's tell the people a little bit more about why you are the person. You have amazing credentials, but let's tell them why you're the person for the job.
Yeah, I'm the person for the job of God-fearing. Look, filled with the Holy Ghost, with the evidence of speaking in tongues. So I'm
Yes,
ready to take this seat. I have been, like, again, public defender, prosecutor, police attorney. I have been the civil attorney for the police department. So this seat handles 3 divisions: criminal, adults, juvenile, and also the civil part of suing someone. So I've been in charge of protecting the police from being sued. And so I'm ready to start on day one. I've had a plan from day one. My plan has been to be assigned that minors docket to sort of ensure that the city and county is not wasting money, right?
Mhm.
We've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. We're now busing people over to Tallahatchie because we don't have time. We don't have the room in the jails. And then also the city of Jackson is now about to start bearing that cost per inmate for those who are not convicted.
Wow.
And so you're talking about $50 a day per person. And so think about that over 90 days. That's a lot of money, $890,000. And so that money could go towards the blight that is happening throughout the city, or anything else we need, mental health, homelessness, instead of using it to house people who have not been convicted.
Quick question. Now, I know that there are a shortage of space at the jails.
Yes.
So with misdemeanor offenses, what happens if someone goes in with a misdemeanor?
So we're under a consent decree in the city of Jackson. And so misdemeanors are automatically RR.
Okay.
And so you don't get to go to jail. You're not held anywhere.
So R&R is
it means being released on your own recognizance. So you sign a paper and promise to show up to court when it's time to show up to court.
for misdemeanors. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a common practice across the country, is it?
Definitely not. It's not
Okay.
across the state.
Okay.
If you go 2 streets over,
Okay.
you're going to be given a bond of some sort. You're going to be held in jail. That's in Hinds County because of that federal consent decree that we're under.
So, it's really, and let's look at a correlation here. When we talk about the crime
Mhm.
in the city of Jackson, and now we're talking about misdemeanor offenses just being able to let go on their own recognizance.
Mhm.
And so there has to be some kind of connection,
Let me tell you about it. Okay, so I had one of the things I've been a strong proponent for is domestic violence, against domestic violence.
Yes.
And so the misdemeanor that is the most popular one is domestic violence. And it goes from misdemeanor to felony real quick, because it goes from I hit you to I killed you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're talking about letting someone out RR, there is no cooling off period, right? And you let them go back out, and they're probably going to do the same exact thing. I had a case like that with Latasha Crump Coleman. You know of her, right?
I will do,
And
yes.
so in that particular case, when she came to me, I represented her, and we found him guilty at the misdemeanor level, right? But then he was let out, violated protection order over and over again, and then she ended up missing. And then I pushed to go to trial without her.
Mhm.
We did go to trial without her. We used her son's testimony, her cousin's testimony, and still found him guilty again at the county court. And so we were able to get him at least 6 months in jail. But those are the kind of things that's important, right? That you have someone who understands how these things correlate.
And we need to make sure people understand, because when people hear misdemeanor, they don't think, oh, it's nothing really, they just went and stole something from the store. But misdemeanors, it's a whole nother storm of them. That, like you say, violence, domestic violence, for instance. And we see that a lot of times. I do a lot of work around domestic violence where people go and get a restraining order, and they'll go and the person get arrested for violating and go and they get right back out. I know there's some case I'm dealing with now that happened. The guy got right back out and went and killed a person when he got out because he was upset.
Absolutely.
So those are some things, definitely. Thank you for bringing that up. We need to work on that.
And even with shoplifting, with the shoplifting thing, they constantly go out and shoplift at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, and guess what they do? The business leave.
Yes.
So, in the corridor or whatever, Ridgewood Court, Marshalls is gone.
It sure is.
And a lot of businesses are leaving. But
Marshalls gone?
Marshalls is gone.
Remember, Best Buy was over there.
Right. And Marshalls moved to Madison.
Uh-huh.
And so, but I can tell you how many times Marshalls came in as a victim for being shoplifted against, and we couldn't find the people. And so a lot of times we couldn't prosecute it. So they just got tired and decided to leave.
And then you have to also think of this too. This trickles down to the police department.
Yes.
Because when you see a police officer, and just being human, if I'm out there putting my life on the line every single day, and this person's a repeat offender, and I'm knowing that, nothing's going to happen to them, they're not as motivated.
Exactly.
That's really a slap in the face of them. They work hard, put their life on the line, and the person go down there and walk right out. And so it really it's on so many levels that we have to understand. But I know that Best Buy left. What the Sam's used to be over there.
Sam used to be over there first, and then Best Buy came and they left.
You know, I heard it was for shoplifting.
Mhm,
Now it makes
I'm
sense
telling
why.
you, I'm telling you, we always got them all the time. I had shoplifting, DUIs, and domestic violence were my top 3.
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow. So yeah, that's important. So what are some things that you would do to kind of, I guess, help us work around that?
So again, the biggest thing I've advocated for if I'm elected is the minors docket. And like I said, when I was a prosecutor, I saw so many young people come in who were being charged as adults, and they were saying clear the courtroom out, but it was an issue for me.
Yeah.
And so I learned as I was advocating for them, I learned that Judge Green had actually wrote an order some years prior to that called the minors docket, and she used a county court judge and made them a special judge to hear just the minors docket. And so you were able to assess that young person's behavior, mental issues, and see where they can go. And so with that in mind, I said, I ran into Job Corps, an individual from Job Corps, and I said, hey, I got an idea. If I were to be elected, could you and I partner?
Mhm.
Because I sent some young people through that. She said, yeah. So I went and took a tour there, and she told me how it works. 16, 24 years old, 1 and 2 years. They get a stipend for it. It's federally funded. You get a high school diploma if you choose, military, or you get put right into the job market, right? You can live on campus. And so I was like, why are we not utilizing this?
Mhm.
And so I want to utilize that for the young people if I'm elected to handle that minors docket. I also want to handle the 90-day docket. So where people are languishing in jail for 90 days unindicted, we need to revisit that so that we can take the pressure off the county and the city.
Mhm.
Because if you're unindicted, you're the city's property, and the city is paying for you day for day.
And when you think about, let's go back to the minors, for instance. I went and did a tour at Henley Young,
Mhm.
and they were talking about how there's so many minors that are being charged as adults
Mhm.
that are still awaiting trial and
Yes.
work. And they said they might be there a year or 2
Yes.
years. So imagine if you have a child in that environment that's found innocent, not guilty, because could be an accomplice. So you put them in the criminal justice system all this time. What do you think they're going to do when they get out?
They're going to be a repeat offender.
Yeah.
And so you have to change their environment. And that's what Job Corps would do. Would change your environment, but also give you the tools set necessary. So then 1 or 2 years pass, it's time to go to court. You're a better person for it.
That's it. You're going to say, Your Honor, look, I have a job, I have a skill
Yes.
now. I'm ready to get into
Absolutely.
society versus you being locked up with criminals,
Yes.
learning more criminal activity,
Exactly.
mad at the world, you're missing school. So you go
Absolutely.
out, you're going to be behind. They have school, they bring teachers in the Henley Young, but there's no way possible for them to cater to every single
Exactly.
age group. So that's important. All right. Sounded good. What else you want to tell the people?
And just lastly, one of the things that I want to talk about is I've also went to New York for 2 weeks, and there I learned forensic science. And so I was able to come back and teach my fellow attorneys
Okay.
that at a public defense conference. And so I shared a classroom with Barry Scheck, who is O.J. Simpson's lawyer, one of O.J. Simpson's lawyers.
Okay.
And so he was in that class with me for 2 weeks. So that is just one of those little tidbits I wanted to share with y'all. One of the other big accomplishment I had was I had a young person who was 14 years old. He was charged with capital murder up in Greenville. And I heard his story, and I was able to tell his story such that I got his charge dismissed at preliminary hearing. That means he didn't have to go to jail.
A capital murder?
Capital murder.
Wow.
And because I went, when he hired me, I immediately went out to the scene. I immediately talked to witnesses, and we learned this 14-year-old can't drive. He simply called somebody up and said, hey, take me to go get some snacks. But they were already in the midst of going to do something.
Mhm.
And so they got the call in the midst of going to the store. And so he just ended up being a part of being there. But the witnesses say that he was standing in the back kicking rocks.
Mhm.
Now, who was intending to murder anyone or steal anything if you just kicking rocks?
Mhm.
So I brought that out, and turns out that the evidence they had was a conversation between the other 2 individuals on Snapchat, which my client hadn't even went away weeks before. And so when you're that astute and you really ready to go and understand what's going on, and you don't wait until indictment, but you take the case immediately. And that young man probably spent maybe three weeks in jail prior to hiring me,
Mhm.
but he got the case dismissed at preliminary hearing. They wanted to originally put his case on the same docket as an officer who was killed with that same defense. I said, no, I don't want the judge to hear that and that back to back. We won't get a fair chance.
Not at
so
all.
we rescheduled it, and they was able to get that dismissed.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, I really like how you have you didn't just go get your law degree, start practicing law.
Right.
You're constantly trying to grow, like going for forensics, so you can really understand.
Yes.
And so it sounds like you have laid the groundwork
Mhm.
for taking the next step.
Yes.
So your final thought?
November 26th, guys, you have already come out to vote for Real Judge. So vote for me again, Attorney Bridget Morgan for Hinds County Court Judge, Subdistrict 2. This district is notorious for voting women. Larita Cooper Stokes was the first Black woman to hold this seat 10 years ago, and let's keep honoring her history and keeping a woman in the seat. We have other representatives. Alice Clark is in this district.
Yeah.
Different Peggy Calhoun as well as in this district. And so
Sure is.
District 2 is notorious for voting for women, but not only just a woman, y'all, a qualified woman. I have laid the groundwork for it. I've told you what my skills are. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Elect Morgan for Judge to see more about me and my son, Jackson. And so, yeah, I'm ready to start on day one, and I'm excited. I want to thank you so much.
No problem. Good luck to you on Tuesday, and keep running hard, keep running strong, and it will suffice.
All right,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
much, Attorney Morgan. All right, so y'all just heard from Attorney Bridget Morgan. She's running for Hinds County Court Judge. As we said, the election is going to be Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, before you go and eat your turkey on Thursday. So please make sure you go out to the polls and vote on Tuesday. Now we have another candidate, well, that is a rock star, has been a pillar, has been around for such a long time, none other than Justice Jim Kitchens. And welcome to the show.
Thank you. I just wish I could talk as fast as Ms. Morgan can.
That's
I'm an old, slow-talking country boy.
Hey, that's okay. That's okay. I'm gonna tell you, your wife has spoiled me. She came up to the Capitol with cookies. They brought cookies for the count and gave them to all of us, and we fell in love with them, and we fell in love with her. So tell her thank you for me.
I surely will. Mary is quite an operator, isn't she?
Yes, she is, and I love that commercial.
Well, she just won't let me in the kitchen. I tell you. But I want the voters to get out of their own kitchen and into the polls. That's what I'm here about tonight, is turnout.
That's it.
Because that's what this is all about. Hinds County and Jackson are extremely important. In fact, Hinds County could control this election if everyone voted. But that may not happen. But there are 21 counties in this district, and they're all important. While I'm here, I'd like to read them off so everybody will know what counties are involved.
Yes, sir.
But once we're elected to the Supreme Court, we serve the whole state. So this election is really important to everybody.
You know, it is. And, you know, even with the legislature, it was 122 of us. But when we're voting on measures, we all have to vote and be in agreement to get a majority of it.
Same thing at the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
There are only 9 of us over there.
Yes, so y'all have
We're the smallest branch of the 3 branches of government. But at the Supreme Court, everything is done by majority vote, just as it is at the legislature.
Wow. And I think we really have to, can you let people know why the Supreme Court is so important?
Well, it is a court of last resort in our court system in the state of Mississippi. That means that when the Supreme Court speaks, when the Supreme Court ultimately decides a case that has been appealed there, that's the end of the story legally. It is possible in some few cases that it can get into the federal system from there, but that is pretty rare.
Yes. So that's, you know, like you said, that's why it's important. Sometimes the lower courts may make a mistake and it comes to the Supreme Court and y'all can look at it at fresh eyes and say, hey, let's make this wrong right.
That's what we're there for. When the Supreme Court was started back in 1817, it was called the High Court of Errors and Appeals.
Wow.
So it dealt with errors that were made in trials. Folks think we have witnesses and juries and all that kind of thing at the Supreme Court, but we don't. Every case we get has already been tried somewhere in the state. And over 70%, closer to 80% some years of our cases come from the circuit courts in all 82 counties of the state.
Wow. Wow.
And then we get cases from county court sometimes, but we mostly get cases from circuit and chancery court. The chancery court, as you know, is a family law court, and it handles estates and land matters and things like that. The circuit court has jury trials.
Mm-hmm.
The most serious crimes are tried in circuit court. And then serious civil cases involving lots of money, people that have been injured or killed in accidents. Those cases mostly end up in circuit court.
Okay. Can you tell me now your time on the Supreme Court, can you tell us about, I guess, like a landmark case or something that a really pivotal case for Mississippi?
I get asked that a lot, and there's so many. Every case is important to somebody.
Yes.
And every case actually is important to all the people. But the one that always jumps out at me when I'm asked that question is the Haley Barbour pardons case.
Oh,
you remember that?
I remember that one.
Mr. Governor Barbour did sort of an unprecedented thing. Most governors pardon some people toward the end of the term, but Governor Barber went beyond just pardoning the trustees that worked at the governor's mansion. He pardoned 200 and something people.
I remember.
And the Attorney General, Jim Hood, got very bent out of shape about that and started filing objections to it. It came to the Supreme Court. We had a knockdown, drag out hearing up there. The courtroom was packed, one of the few times I've ever seen that at the Supreme Court. And we let Jim Hood argue for, I think, a couple of hours. And he was there himself, not an assistant attorney general. And so in the end of the thing, though, there was one question that controlled that case, not whether it was a good idea to pardon this guy or that woman or somebody else, or whether they deserved it or not. The only question was, did the governor have the constitutional authority to do that? And the answer is yes.
Absolutely, yes. That's it. And that's it. I remember that sent shockwaves through the state, back when it happened. Yeah, okay. That's it. Now, can you tell us the areas, I guess, so our listeners will know the counties that you're going to be on the ballot?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
This is the Central District.
Okay.
And the counties go way up in the Delta and they go all the way across the state. My district touches Alabama, Arkansas, and Louisiana.
Wow.
So here are the counties. And if you live anywhere in one of these counties and you're registered to vote, you need to be sure and vote on Tuesday, if not before.
Yes, sir.
So the counties are Bolivar, Claiborne, Copiah, Hinds, Holmes, Humphreys, Issaquena, Jefferson, Kemper, Lauderdale, Leake, Madison, Neshoba, Newton, Noxubee, Scott, Sharkey, Sunflower, Warren, Washington, and Yazoo.
Wow, that's I'm from Yazoo originally, so
I hope you got some kinfolks up there that are listening to
Oh,
us.
I do have a lot of them that listen. So y'all make sure y'all go out there and vote for Justice Kitchens. So Justice Kitchens, how long have you been on the Supreme Court?
I've been there almost 16 years. As you know, the terms are 8 years long. We have the longest terms in the state government. The Court of Appeals and the Supreme Court justices have 8-year terms.
Okay, wow, 8-year terms.
So I've been there almost 2 terms.
Okay, and prior to the Supreme Court, what were you doing?
I was a country lawyer that moved to Jackson. I moved my office up here. I've always lived in Crystal Springs and still do.
Okay.
But that's just a hop, skip, and a jump down the road to Crystal Springs from Jackson. But I started out practicing law when I was 24 years old, and I went back home. I went back to Crystal Springs, and the old judges started appointing me pretty quickly to defend cases of people that were financially unable to hire an attorney, indigent defendants. And before I was 25, I had tried to verdict and won 2 capital murder cases. So I don't know anybody else that's done that. I just, I was at the right place at the right time, and I worked very hard on those cases. But then after that, I continued in an active trial practice, and I was talked into running for district attorney by a sheriff. When I was quite young, I was elected district attorney when I was 28 years old. And I had Copiah, Lincoln, Pike, and Walthall counties back then. When I had been there for 9 years in that office, having been reelected twice, one of our children had cancer, and we had enormous medical bills that we could not pay. And I could either take bankruptcy and stay in the DA's office, which I love to do. I love that job, but or I could get back out into the private sector and make enough money to pay those doctors and hospitals what they were owed. So I did number 2. I got back out and went back to work, and I practiced law for around 30 years until I was talked into running for the Supreme Court.
Wow. And it's important for our listeners to really understand that when on the Supreme Court, experience matters. Having, we're being in the courtroom from all sides and seeing different courts, that's so important, because when you understand how the process works, that makes you better at what you're doing on the Supreme Court.
Well, when I was a private attorney, I represented Mississippi people with every kind of legal problem that families could have. And I didn't represent big companies much. I didn't have big corporate clients. So when I'm on the Supreme Court now, and I see those same kinds of cases coming back to the Supreme Court, and those cases have already been tried when we get them. Somebody won and somebody lost. And when I look at those cases, I think about the people that I represented, and that these cases are not just academic legal problems that the Supreme Court's got to try to figure out and solve. These cases involve real flesh and blood living people, and they have problems that we need to be sensitive about because they affect people's lives.
Yeah, that's so true. And it's important to have a heart and seeing, like you say, seeing the facts and seeing the person, not just the case, but seeing the person, the individuals that are affected. And that's we've gotten away from it in so many different places. I think that's what's really hurting us now. We have to have people that have a heart for the people that are serving in these positions.
Well, that's what I've tried to do. And, I've been called a liberal. I've been called this, that, and the other, and I don't mind that. I did not set out to be a liberal or a conservative or anything, a moderate or anything. I just set out to follow the law and be guided only by the law and my understanding of it and my understanding of the people that were involved.
That's it. We have to do what's right for the people. Can't get in this, oh, it's so conservative, or it's so liberal, or it's so, and you just have to do the right thing.
Yes. You mentioned experience just now. I have been an active courtroom lawyer for most of my life. I have an opponent who has not been. You said experience matters. You couldn't be more correct.
Absolutely.
My opponent practices law. She's been doing so for about 20 years. And she has a type of law practice that does not take her into the courtroom. She closes loans for people, and that's honorable, important work. And I am not criticizing personally my opponent. I'm just telling you professionally, she does not have the background, she does not have the experience, and she will never get it if she gets on the Supreme Court. She has never had a jury trial in circuit court or any kind of trial in circuit court. She has never appealed a case and argued a case before the Mississippi Supreme Court, which is the court that she wants to get on and start making decisions that she's never asked the court to make as an attorney. Now, that again is not a personal criticism, because most lawyers don't really try many cases, if any. But some of us do, and the ones that do are the ones that need to be up there making the big decisions at the state's highest court.
Absolutely, like you said, it's not a criticism. That's just a fact. Facts are facts, and people need to understand and need to know that, because this is so important. It's so important that people know, and that we have the right person there representing us, and someone with experience. Like I said, I've seen all facets of the legal system.
Well, there's a lot of money that's been spent by the other side in this case, and I'm sure more is being spent as we speak right now. With that aside, the people have the power, the people have the choice, and they have the means of overcoming that. It's the people's court. That court doesn't belong to me, and I will be replaced someday. I know that, all of us will, but I want to be replaced by somebody that knows what they're doing, and they're capable of doing the quality of work that I've done while I've been on the Supreme Court. And we just don't have that at hand in this election. So it's so important to go out and vote on Tuesday, or you can vote tomorrow. If you can vote an absentee ballot, if you're 65 or more, you don't have to have a reason except I'm 65 and I want to vote today. Take your driver's license with you to show them how old you are and who you are. But then on Saturday morning as well, from 8 to 12 noon, all the courthouses that I just named off are going to be open for absentee ballot.
And most of them you can do like curbside. Like if you can't go in, you can call in and they'll come out to your vehicle.
That's exactly right.
And so it's no excuse, people. Y'all, please, it's too much at stake here. We have a lot going on in our country right now, in the political world. So we got to do what's right here in Mississippi. And we got to go vote for Justice Jim Kitchens on next Tuesday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Justice Kitchens, for coming on.
I appreciate your having me, sir.
No problem. Look, we're still rooting for you. We're going to get it done.
Get out of the kitchen and go to the courthouse on Friday or Saturday morning. And then if you don't do that, be sure and go to your polling place on Tuesday, the 26th. That's next week.
And you can get back in your kitchen and start working on your Thanksgiving meal after you vote.
You better believe it. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice Kitchens. All right, y'all, we just heard from Justice Jim Kitchens. He's running for re-election to the Mississippi Supreme Court. And we got our next guest coming here. Thank you so much, Justice. Our next guest, I guess this is just going to be a legal night tonight, but our next guest, he is running for Hinds County Court Judge, Sub-District Number 2, and is none other than Attorney Yemi Kings. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so how's everything going? How's it been going on the trail for you?
Trail's been good. Got a chance to meet a lot of good people. I've been enjoying the trail.
Okay. All right, so tell us a little bit about, I guess, what your platform is, what you plan on doing, if elected. So just let people know.
Okay. First of all, I want to thank all the voters and all the supporters that came out on November the 5th, asking everybody to come back out on November 26th. I'm Attorney Yemi Kings. I'm a candidate for Hinds County Court Judge Sub-District 2. I'm a candidate that was born and raised in the district in Georgetown. I'm the only candidate that actually lives in the district. I still live in Georgetown. Graduate of Lanier High School, Tougaloo College, and Thurgood Marshall School of Law. Finished law school. I came back to Jackson, opened up a law office in Georgetown, where I'm located now, 2703 Martin Luther King Drive. I've been practicing law for over 15 years. I've worked in every area of the county court. I'm the candidate in this race with the most experience and the most qualified candidate in this race. County court handles 3 areas. I've worked in every area of the court. As far as youth court, I'm currently a youth court prosecutor. I've been a youth court defense attorney. I'm a mentor with the Youth Court Not Second Chance program. County court handles the criminal division. I'm currently the county court, one of the criminal prosecutors. I used to be a county court public defender, so I worked in every area in the county court.
Back just a little. So you said county court, you handle some of the part of the youth court?
I'm a youth court prosecutor.
Youth court prosecutor. Okay, so okay, all right. And so you say now the county court is what you're talking about, the criminal issues in county now?
So county court handles, first the youth court.
Okay.
Then we got the felony county court, where we handle primarily initial appearances and felony cases and preliminary hearings.
Okay.
When the case is ready to go to trial, that's in circuit court. It's not in county court.
Okay.
So after the case leaves county court, it's sent over to the grand jury. They decide to indict or not, and then the case proceeds in circuit court.
It's confusing. So
Yeah.
now I thought so Chancery handles youth a little bit too.
But Chancery handles family law matters like divorces, child custody, visitation, child support, those kind of matters.
So your youth would be like criminal, the criminal,
And also abuse and neglect cases. So when a child is in an unsafe situation, we might have to find a safer placement for the child. We do that as well. Then also when a child is charged with an offense that would be considered to be a crime if committed by an adult.
Okay.
Certain crimes do not go to youth court, though. Let's say, if a gun is used or a crime that carries the death penalty or life in prison.
Okay.
Those cases don't even go to youth court; they go straight to adult court.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like a murder case or armed carjacking, that case wouldn't go to youth court; it goes directly to the adult court.
To adult county court, and then it'll go to circuit if y'all send it to the. Okay.
And that's by law. I mean, that's by statute.
Yeah, look, I don't know how y'all keep up with all this when they come in and you figure out what court is. There's so many county, circuit, chancery. But y'all got it all worked out, and so we talked about those 2 aspects. So what else does county court deal with?
And also, county court handles civil cases. The civil division, when you're suing for up to $250,000 in damages.
Okay.
Then also, county court handles the appeals from justice court. So let's say it's a small claims matter where you're suing for up to $3,500. Or an eviction matter, and the judgment's against you, and you want to appeal that to a higher court. The county court hears those cases on the civil side.
Okay. Tell me, are there a lot of appeals coming from justice court?
There are. Well, actually, you have appeals coming from the criminal cases and the civil cases in justice court. So if you get convicted of a misdemeanor in justice court, you can also appeal that to the county court, and the county court criminal division will hear that appeal. Okay. Yes, there are a lot of appeals. There are a lot.
Okay. So with county court, does it function like chancery or circuit? So is there like a jury in county court, or is it just a judge like you have in chancery?
So, all right, let's say in the civil division, you can request a jury trial.
Okay.
And generally you're gonna get a jury of 6. But let's say it's like an eminent domain trial, you get 12, but you get a jury of 6 in your civil trials in county court. Now, as far as your criminal cases, you just have your preliminary hearings, and those are just before the judge.
Okay. Okay. And so that's another reason it's important to have the right judge in county court, because if you don't have a jury, you have the judge pretty much deciding your fate.
Right. And I always say it's absolutely important that you have the candidate with sufficient county court experience. And I'm the candidate has handled thousands of cases in county court. And I'm not talking about, 1,000 speeding tickets or misdemeanors in city court. I'm talking about actually in county court. I've handled thousands of cases in county court, spanning from the youth court, the criminal court, and the civil court.
Wow. Okay. That's it. But like we were saying with Justice Kitchens, experience matters. So, that is good. So what are some of your plans, I guess, as far as, how you will run your courtroom?
Well, one thing I want to do is, I've been saying this for a long time about staggering the docket. I go to court sometimes and I see 30 cases set at one time, 40 cases set. And then what happens is you got a lot of folks just sitting there waiting for hours. Then you're missing work, you're losing money, and then you might have to be paying a lawyer to be sitting there doing nothing. So I want to, be respectful of the people's time, set some cases at 9, 9:30, 10, stagger the docket. That's one thing I'm definitely going to do. So as a prosecutor in the criminal division, I deal with victims of property crimes a lot.
Okay.
And they always tell me, okay, this person might have broken into my car, did some damage. Okay, you're telling me they're about to go to jail. They're in jail. They're going to get a bond. They're going to pay a bondsman, and I get nothing. And I got to, fix my property. When do I get made whole? So I want to start a restitution program where if you have victims that are saying, look, I just want to be made whole. I just want to be my stuff to be replaced or to be fixed. If they can do this, we can resolve the case. I want to be able to send cases that route, get victims made whole, and kind of get folks out of the system at the same time.
Yeah, because I think, that's important. If someone comes and damages my property, I'm more concerned with my property getting fixed and them going to jail.
I had a guy who told me that made so much sense. He said everything you're saying is fine. He's about to get a bond, but the bond's about to get $2,000, and I still got to get my window fixed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean, we want to be made whole, and just locking a person up is not making the plaintiff whole. So I get that. I think that's a good idea as far as restitution goes. As far as making them whole. Now, I know you say you could be dealing with the youth. And I think the youth, that's what we really have to start focusing on right now.
Yes.
So what would you do to kind of help out in that area?
Okay, so, we have a second chance program with the youth court now, and I've been working as a mentor in that program. It's a very good program. We got a very good success rate. We, teach them different life skills, mainly about life skills, conflict resolution, try to get them employment, and we got a very good success rate. And you should just see the turnaround that we have with these young people from the beginning to the program to the end. I mean, some come in, holding their head down, don't really want to speak, and then at the end, at the graduation, they can talk to a room full of people better than I can, just all the confidence in the world. But I want to continue working in that youth court program. But the youth court program, it ends at 18.
Oh,
all right. So we got folks that are still minors under the law, 18, 19, 20, up to 21. I think it's still benefit from that same kind of program.
Sure can.
Bring it over to the county court, to the criminal division. Now, I heard my opponent talk about she wanted to send people to a Job Corps. Well, I've been a youth court prosecutor for almost a decade. We've been sending folks to Job Corps, since before then. We got folks in Job Corps now. It's nothing new. It's something we've been doing. Something we're going to continue to do. We're going to continue to refer kids to Job Corps and do all we can do to try to save our children. I mean, that's the goal of youth court. It's not about punish. It's about rehabilitation and saving our kids.
Yeah, because we're not, when we talk about Mississippi Department of Corrections, we're not rehabilitating. I mean, when people get in the system, they're there for how many years, come out with nothing gained, not rehabilitated, and end up, we talk about recidivism. So we need to, like you said, with our youth, we need to figure out alternative routes for them.
Yeah, and even without those, like you said, it makes no sense that folks can't come out of prison, can't be in prison getting an education, getting degrees, getting trades and skills. I mean, that should be a top priority.
Yes.
For everybody going to the system. So when they come out, they come out a better person. So I was thinking about, okay, what does it take to be a good judge? I remember my grandma told me, anything you got a question about, you can find it in the Bible.
Mhm.
So I said, okay, let me just look at the book of Judges.
Uh-huh.
So what I saw was a common theme: transgression or breaking the law. Then there was a period of punishment, but there was forgiveness.
Mm.
And that person can come out of the other side a better person. So as a judge, I mean, even just as a criminal system, it should be geared towards, okay, maybe there's going to be punishment, but on the other side, it's to come out a better person. And that's where these programs have to come into place.
That's it. Now we have a pilot program. We just gave some more funding to that will kind of help. It's like a work release program, so to speak. And so, like, you're close to getting out, they help you get a job, teach you a skill, and they'll take them to the site to work, and they can work while they're still incarcerated. And they keep all their money, like their money comes to them. So it's not like the state getting their money. And then when they get out, they can keep a job at that employer, go somewhere else.
Right.
So that's one small pilot program that we're doing, and it's been successful the past few years. So we just gonna keep building on it and hopefully get it into more of our prisons around the state, because that's key to really rehab is the key portion that we're missing here when I'm rehabilitating, like you say, and forgiveness, and not forgiving people because it's hard to go to get a job with a criminal record.
Right.
I mean, you can't even vote with certain crimes on your record. So
But you can be president, but I leave that
oh
alone.
yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can go get the highest job in the land with 34, maybe 34 is a lucky number. 34, then you can. But that's sad. But we do have a lot of work that we have to do around here. And how big is the docket over at county court?
We got, okay, first of all, youth court, that's one of the busiest dockets in the state, because we have youth court every single day.
Wow.
Every day we have youth court, and unfortunately, every day we have children that may have been abused or neglected. We got children that may have been accused of different offenses, and they come to the youth court. So their docket is extremely busy. It's as well as the criminal docket.
Mhm.
Because the criminal docket hears cases from JPD, JSU Police, Hinds County Sheriff Department, now the Capitol Police, MBN, so many different agencies. So that's a busy docket. Then the civil docket is also one of the busiest dockets in the state, because we got folks that we're filing lawsuits every day. I mean, we have different controversies, car accidents, things are happening every day, and folks are having to file lawsuits. So we got a pretty big docket.
And this, how many is it? 4? How many county judges are there?
3.
3. That's 3 for a whole Hinds County. That's wow. I mean, so 3 judges, and on the justice court, I think we have 5. And then 5 justice court.
5 justice court judges.
Wow, that's a lot of work. And that's a whole lot of work. That's a whole lot of work to be done. So just being efficient and getting cases moved, is something that's very, very important. It's something that we really need. Albert, anything else you want to add to it?
Like I said earlier, I'm the candidate with the most experience. Handled thousands of cases in the county court. Experience matters with any job, but especially when you're talking about a judge seat. So I'm the most qualified candidate, most experienced candidate, and I'm asking for the voters to come back out on November 26th and vote for me, Attorney Yemi Kings, for county court judge. And
I want all the listeners to understand how important these judicial seats are. I mean, they're so important. A lot of people don't realize how important they are.
It is, and unfortunately, if you end up in front of a judge, you don't want to end up in front of the wrong judge or unqualified judge. Things won't go well.
They absolutely will not. We make the laws, but y'all enforce them.
Right.
So
and
interpret of it.
Yeah. So look, you don't need a judge that only wants to follow certain laws that benefit them or all that kind of mess. Look, the laws apply to everybody, no matter who you are, no matter how much money you have.
Mm-hmm.
The laws apply to everybody.
That's it, and that's why we need someone with integrity on the bench, because we don't get that all the time. Unfortunately, I'm dealing with something now. I'm not going to go into too much detail on it, but we don't always get that from our judicial system, which is very, very disheartening. When we run into issues like this. So That's why I like to have all the candidates come on the show, talk to the people, and really want to do what I can to support candidates that I think would be good candidates for the seat. You know, we all have a job to do, and got to make sure that we're putting the right people in place. And I'm gonna let you wrap us on up.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out on November the 5th. I'm asking y'all to come back out on November the 26th. This coming up Tuesday, vote Yemi Kings for County Court Judge. A vote for Yemi Kings is a vote for a qualified candidate that lives, works, and serves in your community. Because I'm the only candidate that actually lives in this district. Okay, and a vote for Yemi Kings is going to be a vote for the most qualified and the most experienced candidate on the ballot. So come on out and vote Yemi Kings on November the 26th.
All right, y'all have heard it from Attorney Yemi Kings. We've heard from Attorney Bridget Morgan earlier, and we've heard it from Justice Jim Kitchens, running for Supreme Court. So y'all know what y'all need to do on Tuesday. And I'm going to wrap it up a little early tonight. I'm going to get on out of here. If y'all see the birthday girl, Brittany Bowman, please tell her happy birthday. You see her riding around, honk the horn at her, but she's out celebrating her birthday. We will not be here next Thursday because that's Thanksgiving, but we will be picking up the following Thursday. I hope y'all have a great holiday. Be safe. Don't eat too much. And please, whatever you do, get out there and vote on Tuesday like your life depends on it. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great evening. All right, y'all, we are done and we are getting out of here a little early. We'll see y'all in the Thursday after next. So y'all have a happy, blessed, and splendid Thanksgiving. And please remember to go out and vote in the runoff on Tuesday. Talk to y'all later.